few months. Okay. Now, yes. Now we'll be professional. First of all, I would like to formally kick off the proceedings by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of this land where we are today, the Larrakia, and also the traditional custodians of the land from where anyone who may or may not be listening to this are. And the screen's just going to keep going off, so we'll keep going on. I would also like to acknowledge any Indigenous people that are in the room today. Okay, I don't get migraines, isn't it? Okay. So, what is the Bachelor of Health Science? Well, you think I'd know the answer to this after, I think this is year 7. Yep, year 7 or year 8. So I originally developed the course, but don't blame me, I inherited the structure. We have revised it quite a bit over the years, and of course there's always ongoing evaluation. So 3 years full-time, or whatever the part-time equivalent is. Most of our students are part-time, so we're pretty used to that now. The 4 streams or specialisations are health promotion, health services management, public health, and what is now called Foundations of Occupational Therapy, previously known as Occupational Therapy Pathway. And just to be very clear, we're not nursing, physiotherapy, nutrition, dietetics, or anything like that, but we do share some units for that. And the sort of beauty and terror associated with the Bachelor of Health Science, it's really open-ended with lots of different options, which some people really like, but others who want a more narrow focus or a more specific focus, it's a little bit terrifying. But we do, in general, focus on people working in diverse community settings, urban, rural and remote, in a variety of health professional roles. We're on about primary health care rather than acute clinical care. But it's not an either-or situation. We've just got a broader focus and more of a preventative focus. We have always had an ongoing pathway for vet or TAFE graduates. We don't tend to see too many of them coming through, but the pathway's there. And we do provide pathways into postgraduate programs, and you'll be hearing about a couple of these, the Masters of Occupational Therapy, Masters of Public Health, and the other graduate courses, which Sharon will talk about later. The Graduate Diploma of Environmental Health Practice, and we've also got, it's not a 5th stream, but it's an approved pathway by the Flinders University, the NT Flinders Indigenous Preparatory Medical Program. So if you're Indigenous and you want to go into medicine, you can do our pathway and then go into their preparatory medical program or apply to go into it. Potential jobs, as many jobs as there are days in the month really. The areas that people tend to end up in, excellent. Health promotion officers, community development officers, public health coordinators. If you graduate with this degree and you've done the Foundations of Occupational Therapy stream, you can apply for work as an occupational therapy assistant. That's not a registered OT, but you can apply for work in that area. Health project managers, health policy officers, just guess the rest, health centre administrators, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole variety of jobs in the very broad area that is community or primary health. So, again, there's a whole range of organisations that might employ you. In the current political climate, I'll be honest, it's not great in terms of money going into health promotion areas, but, we keep chipping away. So you might get a job with local councils. One of our graduates a couple of years ago got a job with the Palmerston City Council as their, I think it was like healthy activities coordinator or something like that. No, Shamini Venkratapan. So, there's work in all sorts of areas. the National Heart Foundation, which Natasha's going to talk a little bit about later, Cancer Council, many of the Aboriginal community controlled health organisations. One of our graduates, we've got a link to her presentation. She's been working with the Catherine West Health Board for quite some time now. And of course various government departments in terms of policy and planning and some of the service areas. Okay, so we're a very small course. We tend to feel a bit swamped by the larger courses like nursing, but we're maintaining. We're steadily growing in terms of numbers, and I think there's generally a really sort of good feeling about particularly the territory wanting to grow their own, but also providing opportunity for people around Australia to do a broad-based health science degree. Approximately, currently, 20% of our students are Indigenous. Most of our students, more than 80%, are external. So we've got people from all over the place. So we're very used to working with people externally, aren't we, Renee? Is she still there? She's gone. She's gone to get a cup of tea. Bless her. She's one of our staff students currently. As I said before, most students are part-time, real diverse backgrounds. Many are already working, and we have a pretty good retention rate. That's because I stalk people, hunt them down. There's some photos of some of our fabulous students in the past. We've had, in the middle, you can see Lynn. Next to, get a bit teary just thinking about it. Joyce, one of our recent, when did she graduate? In the year before last. And Joyce is an Indigenous woman from Cairns, worked most of the time full-time while she was working on her degree and did the health promotion stream. Absolutely aced it, is now working in a health promotion capacity. I can't remember the specifics, but she's fantastic. So yeah, we might be small, but we're quality. Okay, so the course is delivered mixed mode, online and internally. So you can study internally and or externally. You can do a mixture. If you're enrolled externally, but you do live in Darwin, you can still come to classes. It's going to drive me mad, but not just yet. Indigenous students also have the option of enrolling through the Office of Indigenous Student Support and accessing appropriate services like tutoring and things like that. And Lynn, in the past, she's only been with us a year now, but prior to that she was working at Bachelor Institute and we were working in partnership. Well, Lynn and I were, weren't we? All for the benefit of the tape. So Lynn is happy to run informal and optional tutorial sessions for any student that's doing HSC coded units. So any of our units. Doesn't matter if they're in the nursing program or whatever, if she's doing HSC coded units. If they are, then they can, and Lynn's prepared to be the contact, face-to-face contact person in Alice. We're not paying her any extra, but that's what happens. Okay, you can come in if you want. No? Okay. People often ask about costs of the degree, but I can't, the short answer is I can't tell you because each unit is, depending on which category it belongs in, and some are ranked higher than others, it costs more money. The science-based units are more costly from memory. And then, of course, there's the textbooks. Oh, blooming heck. Okay, look, I'm not going to go through this too much because we're already a little bit behind time. Suffice to say that this probably won't make any dent in your thinking, but I think the moral of this story is that you need to be organised. Have you three all, did you finish school last year or have you had time off? All finished school last year, yep. Okay, so your brains haven't had much of a chance to rest, have they? No. So you do need to be organised, because uni is very different from school. I know, I don't want to sound like your mother, but uni is very different from school. But there's a whole range of services, and make sure you talk to us, because that's what we're here for. There's no use sort of freaking out quietly and then just sinking further and further into the quicksand. If you can, come and talk to us. Oh, hi. Yeah, come in. Okay. Yeah, come in and sit down over here. Yep. That's just more of the same, really. Having realistic expectations. Most of you working, but as I said before, communicate with your lecturers. And I don't know how many times I say this, but it doesn't seem to prevent epidemics of crashing computers and lost assignments. You need to back up all your work somewhere, not on your computer, because that will not be considered to be an excuse for not handing in an assignment. Too many negatives, but you know what I mean. I'm not going to play this now, but if you're interested, you can play this later. This is Jessica Hagley, the student I was talking about before, who graduated 2015, I think. And she has been working for Catherine West Health Board for the last 3 years as a health promotion officer. So proud of her. She had to work really, really hard. She had to do a lot of volunteer work. She wanted to go and live in Catherine. Had a hard time. No, I don't say that with like she needs counselling or anything. I like Catherine, but she really wanted to go back and live in Catherine, and had a hard time finding a job because, you know, the way the funding for that kind of thing is structured and quite often restricted. But now she's finally got her dream job, tackling smoking, coordinator for Catherine West, and yeah, going great guns. So she did this little clip for me last week because she couldn't be here today. Oh, I'm not going to swear because it's too early. And this is another little clip that you can go on if you're interested later. Jack Wallace, who was working for the Cancer Prevention the Cancer Council last year, and just talking about doing health promotion with the Cancer Council. So just to give you a bit of an idea of the sorts of jobs that are out there. Any questions? No, good. No, really. There are. I do have here copies of the suggested study plans. For those of you who are enrolling in the Foundations of OT, I have a tip sheet for enrolling in the Flinders units, and Narelle's going to be having a little chat, Narelle Campbell from Flinders. So any questions? No? Focus is all on you. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Now, Narelle, you have to go, don't you? You're good. Who had to go? Me. You have to go. Oh, that's right. Do you want to come over here then, Dal? And actually, we'll swap seats. No, so they can see you. Yeah. Bye. Okay. I'll leave you to do the technology. Hi everybody, I'm Sharon Chegwin and I work for Menzies School of Health, which seems to be a bit of a ring in it